What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another weekly update. And what a Friday indeed we had. It was only a half a day, it was a short week. It was a very interesting week. Wednesday, we had the FOMC meeting notes. The market looked like it was rebounding towards the middle of the week, because the beginning of the week we did sell off that last candle going in, primarily uh, possibly because of what was thought to be low volume. But this week was completely different. This is something have been noticing is the weeks that we've essentially thought we would have low volume this year, everything has been very different. There's been more volume than usual this week, and something we've kind of seen throughout the whole year. I've talked about diluted corrections this year. We've seen that, and then today we got a new variant, and it's just one variant. It's multiple variants, and we got the WHO saying that they are concerned and more lockdown talks. I know there was a couple of countries stopped travel almost immediately. I believe there was about 4 countries last time I read. I am recording this on a Friday, so I'm kind of assuming the weekend is going to entail a lot more news moving forward. So going into this week, I went straight cash because I don't. There is no way of predicting. We are at yes. I think the move that happened on Friday was very dramatic. Given that, but watching the market was very weak on a bounce, and that is not a good sign. Because of the WHO, that people wanted to see what the WHO was going to say, and then again after hours, after close, actually I believe it was around close, WHO came out and said that it was concerning the new strand. Being said, the Biden administration is also said um, that they will not lock down because of the vaccines and things like that. But none of that's really going to matter. I think Pfizer, because Pfizer did come out today. There's a lot of information here, so I'm just trying to relay all this information to you guys. Pfizer did come out today as well, saying that if their vaccine does not stop the new variant, it's going to take 100 days. 100 days possible lockdown. Now, if that's the case, the Biden administration can go back on their word and say that they're going to lock down people, because that was initially their statement. They're saying that no, we have vaccines, we'll be okay, we won't lock down, and that could change. So be mindful of that. Be very cautious of that. That's why I didn't buy the dip and swing anything, because there is a lot of uncertainty. When there's a lot of uncertainty, stuff locks down. And it wouldn't matter. We've talked about different variants and it really hasn't affected the market. But when you start getting lockdowns, it affects the economy. And that is what matters, not the variant itself, but more of what it's doing to the economy. So if you're starting to shut down travel, that starts affecting supply. And it's going to be a bigger issue that's going to snowball and cause a lot of issues. We just started getting out of this supply constraint. The one positive thing, if you're looking at it at a stock market, as a stock market perspective here, there will be more injection of money if we get locked down. This market, this ridiculous parabolical moves that it makes, will continue if we do get locked down. Now, as horrible as that sounds, and is the amount of struggle and stuff that's going to happen, it will happen moving forward, which is very bullish for growth, and it's going to separate more. And I think that could be a bigger issue going forward. But this week, being that it's a full week, we do have a lot going on. We still have earnings going on. We got CRM. So we got Salesforce Tuesday, CrowdStrike Wednesday, Snow Wednesday, DocuSign on Thursday. Still a lot of big earnings to go. You got the biggest events on there. There's a lot of different data coming out. So you have to realize that I think now that the Delta variant is out, this data, I'm not sure really is going to affect anything much until we find out what's going on with this new variant that's going on. But being said, Tuesday we have Chicago PMI, so we're looking at inflation. Wednesday, beige book. Again, I don't think this stuff was very heavy going into every essentially all the data that was coming out involving inflation, involving employment. But now with this new variant, it's just brought so much more uncertainty right back to where we thought we left. Now, yes, I think people overreacted on Friday. But being said, who knows what the world leaders are going to do. If they start locking stuff down, it's going to start affecting supply. And when that starts affecting supply is when it's going to be an issue. And so that's what we have to keep in mind. And I know you want to just buy the dip. I've been wanting to just buy the dip, but right now we are high considering. Okay. So before we start getting into all this other stuff, this is my watch list. I got Tesla, Rivian, Upstart, MicroStrategy, Coin, Snapshot, Airbnb, and Moderna. Those are what I have for my list. Now, getting back into the market, I want to kind of zoom this out a little bit and why this is why you should be expecting, technical wise, you should be expecting a pullback anyway. We are getting too overly confident that this market just goes up. And that's going to be an issue, especially if you're just getting into this market. You have to understand that there is normal pullbacks. We have not seen that. And so you can't just assume that every dip is a buy and that it's just going to keep up. Yes, we're still higher lows. We still got to weigh it. We can still drop quite a bit. In my opinion, we can still hit down to these lower 4,400 mark and still consider a higher low. So being said, this whole Delta or this whole new variant that we have, variants, not just one, it could do that. I don't think it's going to crash the market. Believe me, I don't think it's at that point. But again, what matters is if it starts locking things down. If it starts locking things down, we will get a correction, not a crash, a correction at that point, because we are used to this. We don't crash unless it's like out of the blue, left field kind of stuff is when we crash. Yes, there's stuff that builds up and it's not really out of the blue. Some stuff you can see, some stuff you can't see. Some stuff is a black swan. Today has kind of been like a black swan. Yes, we know about the variant, but it's multiple variants. It's concerning to who. And so again, going to affect supply. Oil came out, and at the OPEC meeting, they were talking about supply issues, supply constraints as well because of lockdowns and everything. That's an issue. We just had to tap into reserves. Biden just released in the world is trying to tap into reserves right now. So being said, you can see where this is adding up and where it's going to be a big issue and what's causing the market to sell. Up to this point, we've been trading sideways here for a while. So being said, now we're starting to get reason to sell. When there is reason to sell, you don't want to be in the way. You don't want to be buying the dip because all that bent up, all the bears have been holding this in, these parabolic moves, and they've been getting essentially torched trying to short the market. Now they got a reason to sell. Now they will put on the gas. Now you don't want to be buying the dip. One thing I can see here, something I talk about all the time, is that we are getting ready to hit the 50. So I can see on Monday, we can hit this 45.71 mark. If we do hit this, and if it's not horrible, if we don't get more added news that is really bad, more lockdowns and stuff, we will bounce back up to the 46.47. At that point, we'll determine if we're going to, because normally when we do that, we go up and at least retest the 20 before we drop again. But this market has been strong, so the 50 may be all we need. But again, it really, really depends on what information is released over the weekend. Because again, if there's something really heavy, none of this is going to matter. None of this watch list is going to matter. None of it will matter because we will just sell at that point. Because again, we're affecting supply, and then at that point, it's more short the pump until we see the market gain strength. And this is where price action comes big into play, is looking and seeing. That's why I watch hourly candles, because you can see a lot of price. You can see the price action better in the day when the sellers move in and when the buyers move in. You can see the action quickly, especially in this market. So being said, that's SPX, Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin's getting torched here. Bitcoin's, again, primary driver was inflation. Again, there was concerns there's no inflation, but now we have another driver. Talk about inflation, talking about supply constraints. We may have just found another catalyst to start pushing Bitcoin back up. And that is, again, this new variant. If the new variant comes out and we have to start kicking money back, more money back into the system, again, more stimulus comes back in the system, you're going to see this go parabolic again. Will it go past 69K? I think there will be even more inflation concerns at that point. I can see more of a movement to crypto right now. Right now, I think everything's just kind of slowly setting up, but I think it is leading to that. Being said, you have to have a theory. It's always a shot in the dark. You don't know what's going to happen. That's why I do give daily updates. That's why I do morning talks on my Twitter handle. I give morning outlooks on what's going on and what I see, kind of predicting what's going to happen during the day. Again, because you got to have some kind of battle plan going into battle. You can't just go in blindly. But being said, Tesla is the first one I have on the stock. First ticker I got here. Tesla is still looking good. It's very surprising because Elon has been selling this whole time, and it's like hungry hippo here, and people are just buying up the shares like crazy. Again, there's rumors going around about another split, especially within some of the information that Elon has been releasing. Give or take, having two splits within 1 year. I don't know what the odds of that are. I think they at least wait another year before that happens. So I don't know if a stock split will happen here, but nonetheless, that rumor could be what's holding the market. Again, this is not financial advice. I don't know if this is true. Again, that's why I say it is a rumor, but it's holding very well. As long as the market doesn't crap out, we don't want this Tesla to essentially lose this 1080 mark. If it does break below that, you're going to possibly come all the way down to the 983 mark. At that point, it needs to hold. If it doesn't, you're looking for a much bigger drop back down into possibly the 800s. Again, it could be a driver if this variant thing gets out of control. Very much a possibility. Be very cautious. Don't go in blindly. Tesla doesn't just go up. It does sell off. There's big candles to prove that it does sell off very quickly. So being said, that's Tesla. I do really like Tesla, again, as long as it holds that level. Rivian is another one. EVs have had a lot of strength. Rivian's been back and forth. It's not my favorite EV. You have to be very cautious of this company. Again, they're not mass producing vehicles right now, so that's something you need to keep in mind. And I know everybody has their own opinion about different EVs. Tesla is ultimately the king of EVs. Everybody's trying to play catch up. Rivian, I think, has potential, but again, it's not quite there in my opinion. So you do have to be very cautious, especially with like NIO and all those other ones. I'm very hesitant on trading those stocks because I don't believe in their technology. I believe that they're just trying to, just because they have the EV association, that is what's driving these stocks parabolic. So I do like Rivian. I do want it to hold this 1011 or the 111 mark ultimately, and I wanted to break back through this 121 mark. It did look like it did get some strength today and started pushing up. So as long as we can break back above this, we definitely want to reclaim this 120 mark. We might actually start consolidating here. This is the biggest reason why I wanted to watch this week. If it does consolidate and play between these ranges and the market sells off whatever it does, I think it might be consolidating. I might try to pick it up here around the 110 mark and then essentially play this range until it does a breakout, or wait till it breaks this essentially 121 mark. If it does break over that hourly candle opens up above there, I'll look to take that long. UPST, this is one that's been kind of struggling. I am in this one. I am swinging shares. It's the only thing I am swinging is shares. It's a very small position, very long hold, but it is resting on that 200. This is something I like. It's been consolidating on this 200 daily EMA for a while. It's essentially bouncing around this 200 mark. So I think, especially if there starts being inflation, tech and everything starts selling, people are always trying to get loans, especially if this is prolonged and everything else. You're going to see this, I think, start picking back up. It was when it had its massive move up, was because of tech was taking a beating and everything else. So I think this is going to turn around very shortly. Again, you don't want it to break. I grabbed it down here the other day around that 195 mark. So I definitely don't want it below the 200. It needs to hold that. If it breaks below there, you definitely don't be holding that, because then it's going to be going for a little deeper dive, unless you are longer swing. Again, I do like the company a lot. So MSTR and Coin are the other two I have. Now these ones I haven't really talked about because I'm kind of waiting. I was waiting for Bitcoin to make a comeback here, but it's really been struggling. If I could find it on here there. Let's do Coin first. Coin is around the 50. I really like it down here at the 285 mark, around that 200 mark, ultimately. But I'm thinking Bitcoin is getting really close to reversing back up here, especially if there are lockdowns and more inflation concerns start coming up. I think this is going to start. We might get a little bit more selling. That's why I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen on Monday. If we start selling off a little bit more, I'm really looking at this 285 mark on Coin. I'd like to get this and proceed up with it. Definitely with a tight stop at this 200, because it does break that. It might go all the way down to the 240 mark again. So we'll see with Coin, but that's ultimately what I'm looking for. MSTR is the same way. I really want it down around the 200. They both almost look identical here. MSTR makes some a lot bigger moves, which is one thing I do like. So I'm really looking at the 624 mark. If it does come down here, I would like to grab shares, and then if it does break out of the wedge, I want to get back in with calls. So again, something I really want to watch. I think Bitcoin will be on watch here within the next week or two and start making that move up, especially if the variant hits. The market might again sell a little bit, or these two stocks might sell a little bit. But I think again, if the big tech starts selling off, I think these are going to gain strength. Bitcoin will gain strength. Again, essentially trying to gauge inflation because of that. So Snap is another one I have. Snap has really taken a beating lately, but on the daily, it's really been Snap has really been taking a beating lately, so we really don't want it below this 48 mark. One thing I don't like about it is that ever since Apple changed all its advertising and everything and data privacy, Snap has really struggled, and they have to change up their game a lot. That's why they have essentially crumbled since earnings being said. They have to make some dramatic changes. Now, Snap may not actually move, but technical wise, it looks good on the daily. It's been beaten down so much, and it's consolidating around this 48 mark. So my thing would be to grab that 48, keep a tight stop on it, and then at least try to get a bounce to essentially that 54 on the daily. I think is a strong possibility, and hopes again to break above that and move forward. So that's something I'm looking at this week. Shop has been very strong in this market. Again, a stay at home. Shop is going to do well. Right now it's at support. It's at the 1577 mark. I do really like it here. If it stays above here again on Monday, as a position I want to get into, is still very strong, still a lower high. Could just be a retest because it had a break back above the 20. Now retesting. If it breaks back a little below that, I'm just going to let it sell off till it finds a base again. At that point, and like I've said, they've already had some pretty parabolic moves already. I'm kind of just letting these things die off. They need to die off a little bit to just keep buying. This is why I said don't just keep buying the dip, because it's already gone parabolic. Like, how much more do you want it to keep going up? Like, the market cap can only go up so high. Some analysis gives some crazy price predictions and everything, and this is why we had this parabolic move, because the analysis came out and said it was $1 trillion company, and then it just exploded like 100 points in a day. So it's just ridiculous. So being said, this thing needs to come down, right? The market cap isn't going to hit that. this $1 trillion mark. It still has to prove itself. Even though it is a very good company, I still really like SHOP. I think it needs to hold this 1573 mark. If not, we'll just let it go, let it run, find something else to trade until that time. But if it does hold, it's something I want to try to capture, try to make its way back to that 1763 mark. And then Airbnb. Now, this is when you have to be very careful with, because of the variance stuff. I don't know what's going to happen. This thing might continue to sell. I mean, it's gotten pretty low. I remember it down here at the 130 mark. I think it could be a very strong possibility. We do hit that if this variant starts to become a bigger concern and lockdowns and everything else. Again, it's one of those ones that you want to keep an eye, because if it does start getting down to this 140, this 130 mark, you're going to want to pick it up. It is a very good company. I really like Airbnb. It was one of the ones I predicted for the year that would do very well. But you definitely want it to, again, see if we're going to get this is why I brought it up this week, because we're going to get a bounce here. This 165 mark, you're going to get a bounce here. You'll get first bounce mark on Monday. This is why Monday I think we're going to kind of bounce. Again, unless the news gets really, really bad over the weekend, I do expect some kind of bounce on Monday. From that point, it's up in the air. From that point, technical-wise, a lot of stuff looks really bad on the daily. You're going to get a bounce at least back to the 50 here. So at this point, it's probably going to be around the 175 mark. So you'll be able to capture about a 10-point mark there, probably tomorrow, Monday, or Tuesday. That's why I like it. But again, I'm watching to see if it does break down below and it starts really getting low. It's one I want to watch in the next coming weeks to see if that does happen. Now, the last one I have for you guys, I know this video is getting long. Moderna, again, had a major breakout. I'm upset because I saw it here consolidating and I didn't get in. And then we got all the news about the variant, and now this thing is just rocketed. Looking at it to Monday, I do want it to hold this 309 mark. We don't want it to break below that. If it breaks 308 mark, if it breaks below 308, you definitely want a tight stop on it. And then I can see this possibly going parabolic. Again, there's a hard ceiling here at the 352 mark. Got rejected hard there here today. We don't want to. If you're going to play this, I would definitely. You don't want it below the 310, the 308 mark. 308 would be a good entry, and then tight stop. And if it does push up into this next resistance, that essentially around that we'll go 350. It hits that, gets close to that 350. I would definitely, if you are day trading this, so again, not financial advice, but I would sell before the 350 and then wait till it breaks. And then if it does break, because you know that hard ceiling is coming, you want to break and then retest and hold. If it does retest and hold, then you re-enter. And then I think Moderna could actually make up a lot of ground, especially if tech starts to sell. You got to look at all the other alternatives. And that's why I like Moderna, Airbnb. Roblox is another one, but it's still really high. I'm not going to mention Roblox until it starts coming down more. But UPST is one that I mentioned because I think it will start running if big tech and everything starts coming down. UPST with the loans and everything, I think will do good in this type of environment. So with that being said, if you've made it all the way through, congratulate yourself and hit that thumbs up and subscribe because you have made it this far. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.